Welcome to the Two Boots Word Vault podcast. This episode is a recording of a Como Cottage Salon poetry scrum, recorded January 25th, 2025. Poets Mike Hazard, Patricia Barone, Norita Dittberner-Jax and I took turns reading poems chosen to follow the previous poet's choice. One never knows where we go, and in this scrum, the circle of poems emphasized our various family relationships. It was a surprising and delightful salon.
Mary, my first grandchild, was born. And this is a poem called Hailing Mary. Joy and mothers. I cradled baby Mary in my left arm for 3 days before I looked into her eyes long enough to see my grandparents and my grandparents' parents and my grandparents' parents' parents. It was a deep dive into humanity, a vision of birthing the earth. I pulled back into the present, shuddering with the goodness of life, with the joy of life. Then zoomed into the future. My grand is a parent. Her children as parents, their children's children as parents. Myself as a great and greater parent and grandparent. I cradled the past, the present, the future in my left arm. With a bottle in my right, Mary suckled. Hailing Mary, I whispered, "Pig out, piglet." Squirm, worm, fidget, widget, suck, schmuck, piss, papoose, poop, pup, drool, fool, smile, child, burp, twerp, love, dove. Hailing Mary, I prayed, blessed be the BMing and weeing baby. Blessed be the beaming mom and daddy. Blessed be the great we that is the human family. Hailing Mary. Love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay. I'm going with Divinity, Mary. Let's see here if I can find it. Oh, wrong book. Well, since the poem I was thinking of isn't in here, I'll go with Home Movie. That has just about everything. Home Movie. You are 14, your future isn't waiting but unrolls into the zillion milli blips of light your whirring camera captures. As you kneel above us, oh, I should have said, this is dedicated to my son. As you kneel above us in the sleeping loft, your video expands our dinner the way a dancer pirouettes. In Einstein's time, the quicker the dancer turns, the slower time in the center. From soup to coffee, we grow younger, sipping wine, toasting Gram and Grandpa, married 50 years. You shoot us in real time, not a belch or a cough left out. With each click of glass on glass, each tick of the railroad clock, the dinner is blissfully boring. Grandma's same old stories, how she and her brother stole a streetcar, how she never won a medal skating in the 32 Olympics. All this in the time it takes us to eat sauerbraten cheesy bits, spuds, green beans with almonds, Schaumtort and coffee. How you reeled your elders in, your father's tonsure gleaming in the candlelight, your mother smoking, I can't deny it now, It is like always a babble. A voice briefly rising alone, she ate half the skin off our turkey, is swallowed in the hubbub of family. Time flows through our throats in organs pipes. The pressure of breath releases our voices. Tubas, groans, oboes, piccolos, and laughter. After they uncork the Irish mist, your grandpa toasts your grandma. Then she begins to clean away the tort. Close up, her hands with the ropey veins. I'm not finished, Grandpa says, lighting his one permissible Havana cigar. The film runs out before smoke rises to where your camcorder purrs, so we'll never know exactly when that dinner ended, if it did.
So I'm picking up the theme of family. Birthday. I drive across town past the freeway, stoplights, each one a milestone from childhood to my old neighborhood in Frogtown. Spring has just stopped holding its breath, and the soft wind barely ruffles the flag in the school. I forgot how flat the streets are. Even the hill where I daringly lifted my hands from the handlebars of my bike is no hill at all. The houses are small and bony. Even our house of 4 bedrooms seems to have shrunk. I drive past the church to the avenue the hearse took with the bodies of my father and my mother, and enter their town with its low houses and tiny skyscrapers, the untrampled grass. I clean off their common stone and place the single yellow tulip between their names, Doris, Otto, then the long music of Dittberner. I stay long enough to say thank you for my life, the 6th of 7 children born in my mother's 47th year, a world of ordinary houses and minimal geography, a lively mother, a singing father, and a generous offering of brothers and sisters. I drive home, back across the intersections and the freeway to my neighborhood of weighty houses and hills to live out the rest of my life.
I got everything in this one too. All right. He's got the whole world in his hands. When Dad sang "My Wild Irish Rose," Mom smiled, then blushed. Sometimes I would be red with envy, but more often I was proud. His voice rose above our childhoods, and now we all love to sing. At Christmas, we wrap our arms around one another and sing, "Oh, Holy Night," the first Noel, and he's got the whole world in his hands. I begin that last song in a blues voice, never sweet, nor mocking, nor sentimental, a voice earned on the streets of Frogtown. When the tempo shifts, Claire's hips sway, Daniel claps, and Dad shimmies like a minnow in a holy man's hand. Then grace comes, nearly every year, from the low and the dark, and we rise like the faithful to repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy.
Wow, I like that.
That's great. Whoa. Well, I was going to recite a little poem about singing until you mentioned that minnow.
Oh, okay. Back to the fish. We're fishing in the ocean.
And that's it. This is called Fishers of Fish. And I've never read it before to anyone else, but it's got minnows in it and Yeah. And my brother. Fish is a fish. A shiny bait minnow blows in the wind, swimming in oceans of sunshine. Lips kissed and closed with steel, it hangs from its silver cross, speechless. Reduced to dancing a breathless jig, reborn in a kind of moving death. It hangs from the transparent line hanging from the rod of the tired fisher, who has given up casting into the surf and now sits disgusted with his luck. He's oblivious to this memento mori, ignorant of the way he has hooked me. Farther down the beach, another minnow flexes and bows, a lively display of silver flash and shadowy arch, on and off and on. A digital language of the last cast, very much alive in our airy atmosphere, ready to go anywhere to get out of this air, ready to sacrifice body for body. The Fisher Kings sit on their thrones of blood and stare into the salty sea. Fat men with meat hooks slice creamy squid, bloody silver marbled mackerel, pierce bloodier bloodworms, and cast their tricks into the water. Priapic in their extended grandeur, the rods rest in the tuck of their groins. As they feel the pull of the line tightening between here and there, they plant their rods in the plastic pipes in the sand, kick back, and burn in the sun, blankly waiting and watching the rod tip in the waves. Having walked through a forest of rods, I have reached the river inlet and see schools of minnows hug the seawall, occasionally pierce the surface in a singing mass which rises all at once. Something big is in there. In dreams as mad as Icarus, these little fish fly into the thin air to escape. In his mind, this fisher, snagged in the riptide, is fighting a tautog. It's possible a fish of fishes has slipped under the rock to get away. Words shimmer like bait for the poem of poems. Pictures strobe in the sun like freshly landed kingfish and are gone, mysterious as fish stories. Which foolish fish of these fishers of fish shall I? Should I? Can I be? Wow. Fishers of fish.
All right. Luckily, having grown up in Wisconsin and now Minnesota, still growing up, okay, this is called Saga of the Lake Cabin in the 80s.
Wow.
It's connected.
His 50s story. Our dad promises a lake house. Bluebell? That's my mother's name. After 5 hours in the car, Mom whacks high grass to the door, weeping in anger. 7 kids, 3 in diapers, and an outhouse. Sound familiar, anyone? The old foundation sags but rises on in-laws wedging pavers. The roof burgeons with moss and uncles shaving dry rot off the cross beams. Grandpa puffs his Muriel cigar, pulls the motor's cord, put, puff, puff, put, puff, bang. He rolls to the brush pile and baits his hook. Gram can't catch her breath to swing the scythe more than twice. Instead, she hangs our clothes from the balsam tree to the pier pool. The boards of the dock, like piano keys, go down and up beneath our feet until one cracks. The pier breaks into planks, and Grandma trudges past in the water, her sheets full of wind. When I run to help, she yells, "No thanks." Graham laughs. I'm grand. Quick season the cast iron pan and start the charcoal grill. Flames lick their reflections in the lake. Great Aunt stirs Welsh rarebit as Grandpa climbs the hill, his pail full of walleyes. Got a fish. One aunt fears choking, so he fillets white flesh from Y-shaped bones. Window glass reflects the gallimaufry of outside-inside, wet laundry hanging on the rope Graham strings from rafters. The way thunder startles us, especially Great Uncle playing rummy and Gramp drinking his martini. He ruminates his storm thoughts like laundry, dark from light. But it all runs together, making our communal load a pearly gray. For the family reunion, where we middle-aged children strain gravy, we're never done setting the table with daisies, hushing the kids, the oldsters, their arguments and beer, a cousin stalking off for solitaire. When the food is ready, the cook deplores a rolling bulge above the stove, raccoons in the attic. He wedges a plywood board on the ceiling above 3 push brooms. Raccoons rock and roll but don't fall through. Coyotes wail like grieving banshees. The grands disappear into mists of sleep. Before dawn, Grandma startles awake despite her oxygen. Uncles fasten the pier planks twice over like the laundry. The boards depress and rise beneath many feet, all dancing to the music of this ruin. The story about the raccoons is true.
Well, what I'm picking up is the place, the farm that we had with an outhouse. And also animals. The poem is called Cows. Dusk. After a difficult day, we walked back through the woods with our dog Muffin, the path littered with fallen tree limbs and cratered by the hooves of the neighbors' cows. We saw them ahead of us, young ones, startling with their big heads, black and white Holsteins, bodies firm, not the ponderous weight of their mothers. Curious, they came forward. The dog barked and ran at them, a show of bravado. They stopped. I picked Muffin up and held her. The cows came forward, big and kindly, the flutter of their breathing, a wave of moisture in the deepening twilight.
How long?
Nice.
When Pat was reading it, I thought this is the right poem. And then your poem is about the animals approaching. And it fits this poem that I have too. So this is Gramps and the Skunk. Once upon a time when life was in balance, Gramps saw a skunk at the door. With his trusty .22, he shot the critter with a single bullet to the head. But when Gramps approached to give it a burial, the white stripe lifted and quickly shot back with an accurate squirt to his face. Because he wore glasses, he didn't go blind, but dunked his head in tomato juice over and over. Yet the odor lingered, and the children and Grandma stayed away. So he took to his rowboat with his tackle, his oars, and beer, circling the lake and quietly strolling in that perfect palace of the stars. Skunks were hazardous in those days. Not when it's coming right to your door.
He's trying to come in.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just outside.
It really happened.
Yeah. He was trying to come through the door.
So what about tomato juice? Is that supposed to be a?
It's supposed to kill
It
the.
does, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to put it in the
odor.
Yeah. It helps. It doesn't totally get rid of it, but it helps.
It helps.
Only time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Sorry, Mike. Did
That's
I
okay.
throw you
Yeah, try to follow that one.
a stinky curve?
Rotten fish.
Does anybody know what this is?
No.
Besides
Paper holder?
It looks like a fish.
looking like a fish.
Yeah.
Right? But it's functional. And it's
Oh, yeah.
designed to open a fish's mouth
Yeah.
Oh.
that has swallowed a hook.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
I also think it looks like a cow, but yeah, that's what that is. Yeah. So animals continue, and I might find a reason to read both of them if it connects, but one is called Michael the Archangel, Music on the Magical Animals Who Have Lived Their Lives with Kids. And the other one is called The Suitcase Church.
Go for it.
Any
Suitcase.
requests?
Go for it.
Suitcase church.
Suitcase Church, okay. And this connects to the families we've seen in these various locations, all the way through the skunk.
Yeah.
The Suitcase Church. My Uncle Al was a Catholic priest. We used to summer on Lake Huron. And I thought of it, even as I was driving past Huron over here, just a few weeks over. When he came to the lake, just south of Tawa City, he would bring the church in a suitcase. And at his sister's house,
Yep.
we would celebrate Mass on Sunday mornings. So this is a memory of that experience, the Suitcase Church. When Uncle Al was up at the lake, on Sundays like magic, his old suitcase of candles and silks, wafers and wine, Christ on the cross and chants in Latin, took over the auntie's dining room, and we all got down on our knees. As the gilt censer puffs in silvery smoke, clouds of serpents swim in this memory. I now see why my parents, raised in the church's cataclysmic catechism, turned us away from this mystery. On Sundays, we went to museums. I hoped this would happen. I'm kneeling right next to Grandma and her two sisters as they Hail, Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners. Again and again in unison, for it seems like forever. The rosary is recited in the beaded dark of Vespers. My ears spiral open, wide as wings. Two little girls are giggling upstairs, spying on the blue-haired old ladies. In curls like waves landing on sand, our prayers turn into a song of songs. I sing of Father Fitzpatrick, my Uncle Al, who called me Michael the Archangel. He was kidding. I sing of Father Fitzpatrick, my Uncle Al, who called me Michael the Archangel, who shimmers in his robes like a fish. I sing of the last time I saw Grandma, matriarch of our mongrel clan, always pretty good for an old lady. Irish Catholic relic with angelic faith, she looked up from our family feast and assured me with the divine smile, she muscled her troubles on earth. By the great horn spoon, I'll fly up there with Al soon.
Yeah.
I have never understood the great horn spoon, and I was at Mackinac Island in a little museum they have there, and there was a great horn spoon. It was a carved horn. Spoon carved out of great horn spoon.
Oh,
It was never explained at that, when I first heard it. But,
sounds good.
yeah.
Okay, I was so busy listening to you, okay. Yeah. After Graham dies, enough.
Mm.
For Claire, my daughter, in Irish, enough is galore. In English, it became galore. Aunt Hilaire in the 7-channel chair called us young ones over. I was 20 and declined the painted figurines. My mother blew a greed, too frou-frou. Hilaire withdrew an oval stone, dawn blue from a satin-ribbed box. Imbued with pink, this egg was dropped by a prehistoric bird in a silver cleft. When their steam train stopped in Leadville, Colorado, Thomas, your great-grandpa, knelt down and gently removed this petrified egg, giving it to great-grandma Lizzie. My oldest cousin Ellen bent her head so Hilaire could fashion real pearls at the nape of her neck, Grandma's only good jewelry. I preferred the hard-won egg. I was meaning to give my fossil, 140 years old, since found, to my daughter, 44, but it's gone. It hatched or rolled away. Before I die, I'll sit soft in the 7-channel chair and ask my matriarchal dead, Lizzie Blue, Hilaire, and Ellen, to help me select Claire's keepsake. If I offer her my string of amber beads, those 1,000-year-old drops of resin will release soothing oil to her skin. If she wears those beads, she'll have enough love to hand them on and luck galore to welcome the blue egg home.
Okay, I'm looking for it. I'm picking up on daughter. Daughter on the mountain. Taking Tai Chi, I'm learning balance, shifting my weight from one foot to the other, making platters, balls with my hands. Daughter on the mountain, daughter in the valley. The master tells me to keep my mind on my feet and shift my weight so completely that I could lift 1 foot off the ground. My feet obey, but my mind wanders back to Jerusalem, to the top of the old city, the story of Muhammad, how he rested his foot on a rock before climbing the ladder of light, pushing off into the vault of the sky, his night journey to heaven. Rocking my body forward and back, I'm poised for flight like Muhammad. The joy of it. How difficult to keep my mind on my feet, to stay in this world with my head full of Muhammad and the terrible temptation to rise.
Oh, I love that poem.
Yeah.
Well, okay. This is close enough. Inheritance. After I sledged the loosened stones from the barn's crumbling foundation, I had a hole, backfill rubble, and house jacks cranked to the plate. The wall hung like a hippo on tiptoes, as I re-poured footings below the frost line. When the concrete cures, although I'm a novice, I'll mortar the blocks like a mason. And as I carry those blocks to stack by the barn, 2 by 2 by 2, my stiffening gait and weary arms bend me toward the ground of my being. Although he's napping on days like this, I see my father in a window reflection beside me, walking in a hat like mine and wearing my beard and my mustache. The first time I realized I looked like my dad.
Yeah.
You do.
I have a father poem.
Okay.
Sometimes from a distance. It's called an apparent fact of life. Sometimes from a distance, I appear to be like my father. But this is a father poem. That's sort of a preface. This is called Father of a Father. Father of a father, dear Dad, you once confessed the sins of the fathers are squared in the children. Whitman look alike and feel alike, champion of Louis Sullivan. You were only ever truly happy when you were on the road. You showed me a street light might be elegant as an elm seed. I learned to inspect bridges for the shape of their beauty. You taught me liberation begins with a regular bowel movement, then moves on to irregular vowel movements. You slapped your stomach, the guttophone, till we hurt laughing. You claimed your revenge on America was bringing Monty Python to TV in the USA. Ha! This never fails to impress my students. You divided your kingdom up like King Lear. Howls ensued. You wrote it all down to the triptych that was mapped, peripatetic pater. Like your father, you send money to school the granddaughter. Now that I am a fond father too, and recall I found it hard to read to my own child every night. I get the presence of absence. Son of an absent father, dear Dad, I forgive and forget. Amen.
Whoa.
Brilliant.
That was my dad.
Okay. After a Chuck Close painting, big self-portrait. It's here, I think, in the museum.
It is.
Must be sick or dead. At 86, my mother, all her wits about her, wasn't surprised when an older friend forgot her birthday. Stopped calling. Behind my mother on a gradual, then sudden path to death. I want to find my misplaced friends. Maybe an almost lover who left for Brazil, Tobago, or the Netherlands. Tonight I'll call and invite him to fill the screen of my mind. If he visits, he'll be larger than the youth I knew, the many selves he hid. His global empathy will move me. Like the 9-foot-high Chuck Close self-portrait, far away it appears to be a photo of Chuck, but near as you can get without a blur. His features are rendered in spheres or pixels. He is a painted multitude, each cell of himself, another person. Closer, the pores of his face are shallow basins holding all the people I never knew or loved enough, all waving their hands.
And I'm going to close with this poem, Evensong. Walking the river trail, I see one boat One fisherman on the river, his back against low sun. I think of the Dakota, the early ones in their river solitude, knowing the currents and when to head to shore. Darkness narrows the river's silver path. I'm heading home myself, up the steep hill, a little breathless. A chill from the woods touches my arm. How we come to evening.
Oh. God, it's so hard to find something to end with. So I'm going to do something a little heavy. Snow has fallen. An inch or two of snow has fallen. Summer's earthborn beauties are covered. Among the nettle stalks, darkness decays the dead leaves. Isn't snow like death? No one will ever see my prickly face again. No one. Maybe our curious hound will hear me rustling, struggling with my concerns on the other side. Yet, because of the snow, because of seeds and saints and accident survivors, I sense that somehow the sun's warmth will return. I watch the chickadee flit from stem to dead stem. They pick at weed seeds and sing against the cold. A chickadee warrior is the bravest of all. He defends his kin against any large thing. He's steadfast, courageous, and in the winter he won't flee. Gray, white, and black, he's beauty with only 3 tones of his color. Joyous, he sings and dances when the slightest streak of dawn cracks open. He's social, and he chirps while snowflakes drop slowly, beautifully, and easily. Even in a blizzard, he finds a refuge. He tucks himself in and waits for what's impossible to defy to pass. I've watched the gray day arrive out of the black dawn. Snow begins again. The lawn's white, the sky's white. And if it weren't for the gray trees and the chickadees, I wouldn't know where earth stops and the sky begins. Thank you all for coming. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Norita. Thank you.